Fender just released an update for their ToneMaster Pro a couple of days ago, and in this video today I want to see if the amp models of the Marshall JCM800 and EVH are indeed more accurate. So, the Fender ToneMaster Pro. I think it's a cool device overall. For more information about my thoughts and for some demos, definitely check out my review and demo up here or down here if you're interested. It has some cool features that are unique when you compare it to other modeling platforms. And yeah, it's just a fun device overall. Now, a short while after making that initial review, I wanted to see how accurate the amp modeling was. So I set out to make a comparison between my EVH 5150 amplifiers on the red channel to be specific versus the red channel EVH on the ToneMaster Pro, because the ToneMaster Pro has some officially licensed models of that amplifier, the Stealth version to be precise. And to be honest, when I was trying out those amp models, again, the red channel, I did notice that it sounded and felt a little bit off. So I left it out of my initial review because I wanted to make a special dedicated video to compare my real amplifier to that model, just to see how accurate it was. So I made a video where I compared my real EVH amplifiers to some modeling platforms, including the Fender ToneMaster Pro. And that video sparked a pretty big discussion on the internet in the comment section of my video, as well as some forums and stuff like that. And the discussion was specifically about the accuracy of the EVH amp model on the ToneMaster Pro versus the real thing. Because to be very honest, the amp models of the EVH and the ToneMaster Pro, at least the red channel, does not sound or feel accurate to me. Now I have two EVH amplifiers, and the one that I'm going to use today is my 5150 III 50 watt EL34 amplifier. And I am aware that this is not the exact same amplifier as was modeled in the Fender ToneMaster Pro, because again, they modeled the 100 watt Stealth version of the EVH 5153. However, as I've stated before a couple of times, the red channels on the EVH amplifiers all sound pretty similar. They all do that EVH thing, you know, with a tight, oversaturated tone. And even despite the differences in the various EVH amps, you can make them sound very close by just dialing in some controls, like the EQ and the gain. Specifically, the presence control and the gain control. Fender actually responded to my video and they said that there was a bug in that amp model, and I believe that they also said the same thing about the JCM800 amp model, and they were going to fix it in one of the next updates, which I believe they supposedly did in this new update. So there were some bugs in the ToneMaster Pro that caused inaccuracies in the amp models. Now, if you want to see my initial comparison video that I did, check it out up here or down here if you're interested. But now we're going to compare my Marshall and my EVH to the models with the updates and see if they now sound more accurate. And let's just go ahead and start with the EVH on the red channel versus the red channel on the ToneMaster Pro. So I reamped some guitar tracks that I recorded with my Schecter E1 Apocalypse Red Rain through the real amplifier on the red channel with basic settings. The standard 3-band EQ is set to the middle. Gain is set to around 10, which is a lot of gain for the real amplifier because this thing has a lot of gain on tap on that channel. Presence is at around noon or 1 o'clock or so. Resonance is set at around 11 o'clock. The amp is being fed into my RedSeven Amplification Amp Central reactive load, which has a great sort of general impedance curve going on, and then into an OwnHammer IR from the Rockbox, the EVH 2013A Rockbox speaker option to be precise, with a modern 3 mic mix. And what I'm going to do first is dial in the amp model of the EVH on the ToneMaster Pro with the same settings as the real amplifier, aside from the gain control, which I'll dial up a little bit more because I know that the virtual model is a bit undergained. So let's take a listen to that so you guys can hear what we have to work with the same settings. Check it out. Okay, I don't know about you guys. We all hear things differently. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But to my ears, there was a pretty big difference between the real EVH amplifier and the model on the ToneMaster Pro. With the same settings going on, aside from the gain control, the model sounded quite different from my amplifier. So the model in the ToneMaster Pro definitely had less gain going on, and the tightness and ferocious sound that the EVH Red channel is known for also was kind of missing. The low end also was kind of flubby, and there was definitely less definition going on in the model. So it kind of sounded like a different amplifier, if you know what I mean. But again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, before I come to more conclusions and make further observations, what I want to do now is dial in the amp model on the ToneMaster Pro so that it sounds closer to the real amplifier. And what I'm going to do is basically add more gain, raise the presence control for clarity, add a little bit of treble, dial out a little bit of low end with the bass control, and just see how that sounds. It should make it sound a little bit closer. Let's go ahead and check out the comparison with those tweaked settings right now. Okay, so some additional observations. So with the settings dialed in a little bit more, the amp model definitely sounds a bit closer to the real amplifier than before. In terms of the overall EQ curve, it sounds closer. I mean, it definitely sounds brighter and more upfront. But the distortion character and the dynamics and the response of the pick attack, especially in the low end, is quite different on the ToneMaster Pro's model than on the real amplifier. Now the tightness, the clarity, and the aggression of the real EVH amplifier on the red channel, you know, the sound that the EVH amplifiers are known for, especially on the red channel with that saturation, that just really isn't present with the virtual model in the ToneMaster Pro. So even though the amp model got an update and it has been improved somewhat, it still doesn't really sound close to the real EVH amp, in my opinion. Now, please don't misunderstand. I'm definitely not saying that the ToneMaster Pro is a bad device or that it sounds bad or anything like that. All I'm saying is that in this comparison, the ToneMaster Pro doesn't really sound close to my real EVH amp on the red channel. And even though I have the 50 watt EL34 version of the amplifier and they modeled their model on the 100 watt Stealth, it still should sound much closer than how it is sounding right now, I'm afraid. Okay, now let's move on to the Marshall JCM 800 model and the Fender ToneMaster Pro. And we're going to compare my Marshall JCM 800 Studio to that amp model. Again, it's not the exact same amplifier because they probably modeled the virtual model, you know, of a 100 watt JCM 800. And this is obviously a 20 watt version. It does have EL34s though, and it does really do that JCM 800 thing quite well. I'm using the same setup as before, so the same load box, but a different IR this time. I'm using the OwnHammer Essentials Classic Rock Cabinet on the mid-gain mic mix. This time I'm just going to start right away with the model dialed into taste to make it sound as close as possible to the real amplifier. The settings are quite basic. The 3-band EQ is set to around 6. Gain is cranked to about 3 o'clock. Presence is set to around 11 o'clock. So yeah, just some standard crunch settings for the Marshall. Now I reamped some tracks this time that I recorded with my Les Paul Standard 60s with the Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge. And then again, I tried to match the sound of the virtual model in the ToneMaster Pro to those reamped tracks of the real amplifier to make it sound as close as possible. Let's take a listen to the comparison. Check it out. Okay, again, that was interesting. Now let me say up front right away that I definitely don't think that the JCM 800 on the ToneMaster Pro sounds bad. It sounds pretty cool. However, it does have a different character, especially in the mids, than my Marshall JCM 800 Studio. The real Marshall has those signature Marshall mids that really stand up front and really cut through a mix with a lot of string definition, whereas the amp model sounds kind of scooped. I'm also getting less gain from the model in the ToneMaster Pro, so I did have to add a boost up front, a clean boost, to add some gain to the amplifier. So in this case, in this comparison, I also can't say that the model in the ToneMaster Pro really sounds like a Marshall JCM 800, even though it sounds kind of cool, and with some effects and boosts up front and stuff, you can definitely get some great tones out of the model. It sounds kind of in the ballpark, and it kind of sounds like a Marshall, so again, it's not bad. And the same goes for the EVH models, in my opinion. So I do think that some of the amp models in the ToneMaster Pro could use some more work to make them sound closer to the real deal. Because otherwise, it's a very cool and fun device to use, and I really mean that. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, because I'd love to know what you guys are hearing. Maybe you're hearing things very differently. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Let me know in the comments. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and that you found it useful. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, as that really helps the channel out. I'd usually appreciate that. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.